the best way of making sure that we can keep these things going is knowing that people want to come.
Yeah.
So I know that people sometimes, decide on the night and buy tickets on the night, but it makes it really nerve-wracking for anyone who's putting on a show. Welcome to the Apollo Audio Podcast.
Hello.
Still don't know where to look when I do that, because I normally look at you, which seems like the sensible thing to do. How are you doing, Billy?
All good. Slightly hungover this morning, slightly tired.
Hungover?
We had a studio gig last night.
What are you doing being hungover? You were supposed to be
Drinking
working.
on the job, I'm sorry.
You were enjoying yourself, how dare you?
I was enjoying myself. I got Mum to go behind the bar and I got you to shut up, didn't I? So it was quite nice of me,
said,
actually.
I'm going home.
Yeah.
Goodbye.
No, it was really good. We had, Connor Bond, who's in this morning again rehearsing. Loves it here. White Bugs, who are great, and High Society, all brilliant bands. And again, it's just you think you get used to it by now.
Yeah.
But you've done like nearly 30 of them.
Yeah.
And I always say, oh, that was my favourite one yet. Every single time. They're always really, really good. So
it's great, because I think, they've all been good, but obviously having done now 30 of them, the actual sort of organisation, process, management, everything just feels a little bit
it's just in place
slicker now.
Yeah.
We kind of know what we're doing, rather than the first few were a bit like...
I used to get so nervous for them. I was like, oh my God.
Because you've got we have been fortunate that ticket sales have been good. People are doing that thing that we've sort of said on this podcast before about the best way of making sure that we can keep these things going is knowing that people want to come.
Yeah.
So I know that people sometimes, decide on the night and buy tickets on the night, but it makes it really nerve-wracking for anyone who's putting on a show to kind of trust that people are coming up. Whereas if you bought your tickets in advance, you're like, this is good.
We've had to, if I'm being honest, we've had to cancel some before because of poor ticket sales. Because it costs quite a bit of money to put on a show. You've got the sound, you've got the lights, you've got staff that are here. We pay the bands, it's a stock of everything. So it's quite expensive to put on a show. So we've got to make sure we have that as just as a guarantee, really. If we can cover ourselves, we'll do it because we want to put on a good night. And a few of the bands said, there's not much like this. I know you've got your corn exchanges and stuff like that, but this feels very much more DIY and sort of... different feel to it.
And realistically, the Corn Exchange is great, but it's huge. It's kind of cavernous.
Yeah.
We can put on a show here that's a good crowd, but it doesn't have to be a huge crowd.
Yeah.
And you feel like you've got a really good vibe and a really good environment. You take that same crowd and put it in the Corn Exchange. Yeah. It's just going to die in there, even though it's the same people with the same attitude, with the same enjoyment, all that kind of stuff. But all the sound's just going to disappear over that. So there's a value in that sort of small venue thing that allows you then to build your audience and then step up to those other venues.
I thought the exact same thing when I went to System of a Down on Wednesday.
Yes.
And I was like, they were great. They're really, really cool. But stadium gigs they just don't do it for me unless you're right at the front. And like, fair play for the bands doing it. I'm not saying they're selling out by doing it. I'd love to play a stadium show. Yeah. But there's nothing better than like a sweaty little venue, like not even a little venue, like Electric Ballroom's my favourite venue. It's 1,200 cap. But I've seen some of my best ever gigs there. And then when you do that tenfold, you just lose the intimacy of the gig. Yeah. And it's not the same. I do feel sorry for people that only say listen to like your Harry Styles and stuff like that, and they'll only ever see him at the O2 or stuff like that. When you go to like sweaty little clubs, they're the best shows out.
I do understand the event part of the whole thing.
Like Oasis, you can't imagine seeing like their stadiums.
There's that, and there's those huge, like say, stadium tours that are going all over the place. And it is kind of it's almost like you've got to be there, even if you're not really a fan. It's still like, it's the event of the year. It's like attending the World Cup final or Wimbledon or something like that. To go. It's just like, are you a big fan of tennis? No, but it's Wimbledon, isn't it? I'm going to go. Yeah. And I feel like some of those big events are like that. You don't want to miss out or feel like you were missing out. Yeah. Whereas those smaller, more intimate gigs, and I know we've talked about this on the podcast before. That was what gigs were when I was going to gigs. Even the biggest bands weren't playing massive stadiums, not on a regular, but you had to be really huge. It was your sort of Rolling Stones, Bruce Springsteen, Dire Straits, maybe. Those sort of, they were kind of known as the stadium acts. And then everyone else was a level below. So they would play all the venues around the country. So they'd play Edinburgh, they'd play Glasgow, they'd play Newcastle, they'd play Sheffield, they'd play Manchester, all those towns and cities, that would be their tour in the UK. All of those venues, probably all are around about 1,500, 2,000 cap things, and that was the tour. So that's how you saw those bands. And I miss that.
Yeah, so well, even like there's some like Killers have done it where they've done like 5 nights at the O2. They could probably do like a Wembley, couldn't they? But they've done.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's more like beneficial financially doing that.
Yeah.
But I'd rather see a band like an arena even than a stadium. It depends where you're sat and everything. It depends on the experience.
The whole thing, I mean, compared to how I remember it, you know, what I was used to when I used to go more regularly to see bigger bands, I tend to go and watch, like, I tend to go to the type of shows that we do now.
Yeah.
If I'm going to see gigs.
I saw this morning, talking about stadiums, Shane Gillis, you know that American comedian, he's had the biggest stand-up show ever. He's done it in a stadium. It was like 73,000 people. For a stand-up, I was like, that's amazing. But I just don't know if the acoustics of like again, it's the intimacy of like of a stand-up show, and like even like arenas feel like a bit big for it, but at least you're still like all enclosed.
Yeah.
Doing an outdoor stadium, I think it's amazing, but
I went to see Trevor and Noah at the O2.
Yeah.
That's the sort of biggest
Why?
one of that size that I've seen. Okay. All right. Marked your card there. That's fine. It was good, but it was, I mean, that was, I don't know that I would have gone. Eva wanted to go.
Yeah.
She went to go and see him, so we
Yeah.
went there, and you know, it was fine. But you're kind of right. Again, same thing. I've been to see other comedians in much smaller venues than that, and it feels more like the right right place.
We can't beat again like it's sort of like this. I'd love to do a stand-up comedy night here because that's the sort of ones you do when we went to Edinburgh. It's somewhere like the size of this sort of place, and and there's a bit of crowd participation like that as well. I saw Ramesh Ranganathan at the was it the Hammersmith, and even that felt quite big for like a stage because you're on like tiered sort of seating. But it's different, isn't it? It's what people want, but you can't beat that sort of club vibe for a show.
And I think it's a good opportunity. I mean, you can't just go straight into stadiums. I mean, there are the odd band that have done that weirdly, but you know, the idea of doing that seems weird because you've got to kind of hone your craft a little bit. A lot of comedians going back to that as well. That's what they'll do. They'll do like, you know, this is a work in progress tour, so it's a little venue. You know that I'm going to be referring to notes. Some of the jokes aren't going to work because I'm going to rework them again later. But that's the value of doing those sort of smaller gigs as well, especially with a really sort of dedicated audience who's really there to see you. They'll go with you on that. They'll go like, you know, things might have gone a little bit wrong, but we saw you on the up. We were there at the start, and we followed you all the way through. I think all that stuff's great. I was hearing that Boyzone played the Arsenal Stadium.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, that's got to be 50,000 plus. And it's like, I mean, I know Boyzone were big. This is only recently.
Yeah.
I know that Boyzone were big. So they're obviously on a sort of reunion tour type thing. I think, are there really 50,000 people who want to go and see Boyzone?
That's insane.
Yeah.
Well, it's that thing, they must have, you get a lot of, I think it's always that 30-year cycle where you're into them when you're young.
Yeah.
And then you get into them again. So it's probably like my generation that probably listened to Boyzone when they were really young and then... so there's a lot of that going on. Speaking of Rolling Stones, we mentioned earlier, they've got an album out, haven't they?
Yeah, new album out.
And they've equalled the Beatles record, haven't they?
In what sense?
15 number one albums.
Oh, okay. Really? Okay.
Yeah.
Who was it? Was Robbie Williams not chasing that record as well?
I think every single album he's had is a number one or something like that.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. Yeah. He was chasing that. I don't even know if he managed it. I didn't hear anything about it. I don't know what that means.
Yeah. I didn't know there's a new Rolling Stones album coming out.
Well, you know.
This is what we talked about algorithms before. It's like, someone mentioned it yesterday and I was like, didn't even know.
We said the same thing about the Paul McCartney album, didn't we? And again, I was listening to someone saying the Paul McCartney album came out, a month ago? And there was quite a buzz about it. I remember there was a lot of press and marketing about it when it came out, but we're sort of 3-4 weeks later. Is anyone talking about it anymore?
No.
It's kind of, that'll disappear. Yeah. Rolling Stones' new album, it's still a bit of a deal if the Rolling Stones release an album, because there's a lot of Rolling Stones fans, and you know, some of them have passed on.
Yeah.
But they keep collecting new fans because they're like a legendary act. So there's always going to be interest, but also it's like, yeah, okay, but who cares?
Yeah, who generally cares? I like it when like some bands they'll tour and they know that people don't really care. They know that people just want to hear the hits.
Yeah.
When you go see them, and it's cool to put out like an album. I don't get it, but like, don't play the whole album live.
No.
Like,
and I think the Stones have said. I mean, I think Mick Jagger's kind of quite sort of blasé about. Yeah, we'll tour, but Keith Richards is like, I can't.
Really?
I think he's just like it's beyond him now to be
Yeah.
able to do that. So I don't think they'll be touring this, which has always been a thing that keep going, be on tour all the time. But there just comes a point where you can't. So then it just does become about the music.
Yeah.
And there is again, listening to the same podcast, they were joking about it. Every time the Rolling Stones release a new album, it's always kind of, it's their best since Exile on Main Street.
Really?
And it's like every single, they were looking back through the critique of virtually every single album they've released since Exile on Main Street, and it's been, this is their best since Exile on Main Street. Because every album is like, they're excited and they're like, it's good. Yeah, but they still haven't topped that.
Do you think
that one from 1971. They still haven't topped it.
Is it a deserved number one spot? Is it just because they've got such a huge fan base they'll just get a number one?
I think it is the fan base thing and the streaming algorithm, and that kind of leads me to another thing I wanted to talk about, which is along the same basis. Have you seen that the Sam Fender Olivia Dean song "Rain Me In" is now the longest number one in UK chart history?
I love that.
More weeks at number one than anything
What was
prior.
the original record holder?
It was Bryan Adams, "Everything I Do It For You."
Oh wow!
And the one that was near that was "Wet, Wet, Wet, Love Is All Around."
Wow.
Which were like 15 and 16 weeks. Sam Fender, Olivia Dean's now done 17 weeks at number one.
It is a banger.
It is a banger, but it is a bit crazy. You look at that, so it makes the statistics really meaningless, to be honest. It is a banger. It's a really good song, but the comparison between that weeks at number one that Bryan Adams and Wet 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 did and what Sam Fender and Olivia Dean have done, it's the comparison is just not there. It's not the same world that we live in.
So how would it work?
Because that was Bryan Adams' Wet Wet Wet. That was people going to a shop and buying a record, and that's what qualified as a sale.
Yeah.
The Olivia Dean Sam Fender one is combined streams, downloads, purchases. I don't even know if you can buy the single other than on a download. I don't know if you can buy a physical format of that single. But say when those ones in the sort of 80s and 90s, that was people going to their local record store or Woolworths or whatever it was where they bought records.
Would an album count towards a single as well?
No.
Just a single.
Just a single. It's the same again. If you're I mean, I know that song is on Sam Fender's album, but not that version. This is like an individual track.
Yeah.
Separate. But no, singles were only count if you bought it as the single. It wasn't if it was on an album and you bought the album that had the single on it. That didn't count. That was an album sale. So the things the way you calculate these things is entirely different. That for 16 weeks, more people bought those records, like went to a shop and handed over money to buy that record.
Yeah.
And this is before streaming and downloads.
Yeah.
So they physically walked out the door,
Yeah.
went to a shop, bought the record and went home with it. And for 16 weeks, more people did that than any other record.
Yeah.
That's not the same as what Olivia Dean and Sam Fender are doing.
But
that is people just like, I'll listen to that again, I'll
Yeah.
listen to that again, I'll listen to that again. And once it's on a playlist, it gets regenerated.
Yeah.
It's still a hell of an achievement, don't get me wrong. I'm not like dissing it in terms of it was better in the old days. It's just there's not a comparison.
Does every week it start again at zero? How does it work?
Yes, it's the most sales in that week, yeah.
Yeah.
So every week for 17 weeks it's sold more than anyone else.
Yeah.
And possibly even more than that, because the way that the charts are rigged a little bit now to try to emphasize new release tracks over old release tracks. So if you sell less in 1 week than you did the previous week, I think you then have to sell double to count as one the next week, something like that. So as I said, it's a hell of an achievement. That level of popularity is crazy, but it regenerates itself because of algorithms, because of playlists. Once you've got that level of popularity, it kind of self-sustains itself.
Yeah. Well, like we mentioned though, like the Paul McCartney things, like that was out. Now it's gone though.
Yeah.
So it's got something about it. Obviously, it deserves to be there.
It's not. I mean, it's been number one 17 weeks, but it's been released about 30-something weeks ago. I mean, we talked
that's
about.
what I'm saying. It feels
you
like it's
first
been
mentioned it to me.
Yeah.
When we talked about Olivia Dean's album on the podcast, which was
it's got to be nearly a year ago.
October, November, maybe earlier than that, last year. And it was nowhere near number one at that point. It was just knocking around, and it's just got more popular and more popular and more popular. So I'm not knocking it. It's a great track.
Yeah.
But it's weird to kind of go, it's the record holder. But it's not. I feel it's a different record. It's like this is a new record that they've got that's in streaming age. And those old ones are still kind of different.
Yeah, that's incredible.
They kind of stand alone.
The Wet 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 one, people actually went to the store to buy it for 16 weeks, or whatever.
Yeah.
That's mad.
Every single. I think in the end, I can't remember which one it was. I think it was the Wet 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 one. In the end, they deleted the single, so you couldn't buy it anymore.
That's unfair.
Because they were fed up. They were fed up.
Really?
Like, we've got to kind of stop this. So they just stopped
Christ.
pressing more copies of the single,
Wow.
so that less people could buy it. I mean, that sounds like a good marketing story
Yeah, that's
as
what I'm
well.
saying,
doesn't it?
yeah,
'Cause
yeah.
like, we know it's going to come. No, we deleted it. Otherwise, it would
Yeah.
still be there. That's a little bit of good management.
Wow.
But yeah, I feel it's a little bit of a crazy scenario. The album, I can't even remember it. I've almost pushed it out of my brain.
Count Your
Tell us
Blessings.
what the album was that we decided to do this
So we're doing
week.
Count Your Blessings by Bring Me the Horizon, which was, I'm a massive Bring Me fan. I've got a tattoo. Well, I used to be. They're the reason I got into metal music. Jack, who works here, he was into heavy music before I was. And I remember he was recording, and I saw a big poster. And I saw Bring Me the Horizon. I was like, oh, they're too heavy. And then they put on a song. And it was a bit more like slower ballady with the heaviness in it. I was like, and that's sort of my gateway into it. Because I was growing up listening to heavy music, but not at the shouty side of things. And I love the riffs, and I could never get into that. So I thank them for like changing my whole like music landscape, get me into more genres of music. So they've always been a really important band to me.
Yeah.
That was like the third album.
And this is their first album.
Very first album. The fourth album was September, which they got massive, saw them on that tour and everything. And every single album, they've changed in a way.
Yeah.
They might have got a little bit more popular recently, but they've always changed, and I think that's great. They've maintained their heaviness as well, and they can go in between. But I think if you're gonna do it, like, don't just go instantly pop. They've always had like elements where they've done electronic stuff. That's always been a part of their sort of sound, is like we change, and I rate that. Not just because I don't like the latest stuff doesn't mean I'm still not a fan.
And they've grown their audience. Like it's organically, like you said. It's not like they've gone, oh, we'll change genre. Their genre is still their genre.
Yeah.
They've tweaked that. They've grown their audience. They've become bigger.
Yeah.
People catch up with it or whatever.
Yeah.
But there are elements of it that are a bit more accessible now than were maybe when they first started out, which was quite hardcore.
But I think it's been a gradual thing. It's not one of them albums where they'll go like, I'm singing now. Every single album is sort of like lent into the next one.
Yeah.
But if you listen to their album, the last album, and you went to their first album, you think, Christ, this is another band.
Yeah.
So Count Your Blessings. So it must be 20th anniversary now, 2006.
Yes. Well, why are they? I mean, that's really become my question about this album, because I found it almost impossible.
Yeah.
I mean, I did kind of. It's the first time I think on this podcast I've kind of given up and went, I don't
It's not
get
for
it.
me. Yeah.
I don't get it.
So this.
So why like, so the point of this is that we haven't gone back and listened to an album like their first album, just listen to their first album.
Yeah.
The reason we've gone and listened to it is because they have not just re-released their first album, but they've reworked it.
Yeah, it's not
And
a remaster or anything.
and I can't even get a real sense of what is the point. You tell me, what have they done?
Well, I saw an interview about it, because they wanted to do something for the 20th anniversary.
Yeah.
And they did a massive show in Manchester, sold out 2 nights, and again like an outdoor arena sort of thing. So there is a massive demand for this sort of music, which is just mad, and I love that as well. Any sort of the extremes, like the Andrew Potwin that we listed last week, selling out and millions of streams and stuff like that. I love that people listen to the extremes of music. I think it's really cool. Like System of a Down on Wednesday, there's 60,000 people listen to Armenian like folk metal. It's mad. I love that. And even though I'll get into like the album after, but so, and they said at the time when they recorded it, they were really young. I think they weren't even in their 20s yet.
Yeah.
And they didn't really know what they're doing in the studio, sound-wise, tone-wise. So I said, rather than just re-releasing it, remastering what people do, let's re-record it. So I think it's like Repented, I think they called it.
That's right, yeah.
And I never really gave it a go when it first came out. So, like, again, I got into Bring Me on their third album, listened to the album before that because I had a few singles on it I knew of. Went to the first album, and it's just that more extreme of metal that it hasn't got enough melody for me.
Yeah.
I can appreciate like how technical it is, but it's never really. It's more like blast beats and like, and it's too much. And I thought, I'll give it a go because they released a single the other day. So I think it's like 7 tracks on the album, 8 tracks.
Yeah.
And they did a new one.
They've done a new one and put
in
it on
that
the
sort of
end.
deathcore sort of style.
Yeah.
I was like, I can kind of get into this because this is like it's like a heavier Bring Me than they're doing now sort of thing with some like heavier vocals. And I got into that. I was like, oh, if I like this, maybe I've misjudged, because I listened to the first 2 tracks of that album when it came out all them years ago, and I thought, this is not for me.
Yeah.
And it's still not for me. it's just, and I just, not that I don't get it, I get it, but it's just one of them, it's not my genre of metal, and there's so many different genres within a genre that I just wouldn't choose to listen to.
Yeah, I could put up with it on an individual track basis.
Yeah.
And I do kind of mean put up with it. I wouldn't kind of, and I don't mean like, oh, do I have to? Yeah. So it's like, okay, that's fine. It like pops up and you go, all right, fine. I don't know if we were again the gig last night. Between bands, we're playing tracks and music and stuff like that. You know, a song comes on, you go, you're not really paying that much attention, but it's all right. A track comes on, you know, another one's going to be along in a minute. Yeah. So like there might have been a bit of Bring Me the Horizon or something in that sort of genre comes up on that playlist. That's okay. But once I'm sort of past track 3, listening to this album, like not another one.
There's no release, is there? There's no like escape.
No.
And
that's not from the nature of it. So is this understanding it then, the approach they've taken to this, and for different reasons, I guess. But it's like when seems like a daft analogy. It's like when Taylor Swift re-recorded her stuff.
Yeah.
Because she wanted to take ownership of the masters, but she's gone back and replicated as much as possible what she did before. They've taken that same approach, but we're a bit more sophisticated now, so we can approach it with it. We've got a bit more money, a bit more time, and we kind of know a little bit more. We're a bit more knowledgeable about what goes in the studio. So we'll do the same thing, but with the knowledge that we've got now.
I think that's really cool.
I mean, look, it's it's an artistic statement, I suppose, but I feel
at least you got 2.
I kind of think, is it though? Because is it better than? I mean, I don't know because I haven't listened. Is it better than the original?
I think you always like.
If you love the original, do you care about the new one? That's probably kind of not. No.
And I remember having like tracks like that before when you've got like an album version that's got a slightly different mix or something like that, and you always you just instantly love the first one you've heard because it's what you're used to.
Yeah.
So maybe it's like a marketing thing or something like that. For people like us who have nothing to compare it to, we might prefer this one. And I got into it through the single, and it's like they'll probably release this one on vinyl as another money-making sort of thing.
Yeah, because it probably didn't come out on vinyl originally, that kind of stuff. Yeah.
So it's probably that for that sort of ploy, but it's got us talking about it, and it's...
Yeah, and they're insanely popular, so and it is like, we could sort of do something about it, but as I said, it kind of feels like anyone who loved the original, I'm not sure that they're going to go, this better. But one of the reasons we talked about this a couple of weeks ago was Placebo have done something similar with their first album, gone back and redone it. And their new version of their old album is in a lot of lists of album of the year.
Oh, no way.
Yeah.
That's mental. Is that allowed?
Well, I don't know, because that's how I heard about it. It was like, oh, there's a new Placebo album. And I realized it wasn't a new Placebo album. It's an old Placebo album that they've gone back and done what Bring Me the Horizon had done. So there's like, you could criticize Bring Me the Horizon for doing it, but other bands are being lauded for doing it. Is that because they did a better job, or just because the critic likes that style of music more?
It's probably because this is a very, very niche. So what about this sort of? Because I know you're not the biggest metal fan anyway, but you like some stuff. So what is about this sort of that you don't like?
Well, it's not that I don't. It is that I don't like it because I just don't enjoy it.
Yeah.
But it's not like I think it's awful or terrible. People will say this about me. Oh, I hate that stuff, or I can't. But
the musicianship is amazing.
I'm not. The fact that it exists is not a problem to me, but it's not a thing I want to listen to.
Yeah.
And I find that with this particular, and it may not be true across the board, but with this particular album, at the time that I was particularly listening to it, I just thought, no, I can't be bothered to give this the time. Whereas, again, going back to what we were doing last night, you were popping up tracks onto playlists last night between the bands. Yeah. I was going, not all of it was as heavy as this, but it was certainly not the sort of thing that I would normally listen to. Yeah. But I was going, this is good. I like this. The band I've forgotten the name of that we've got on the wall out there. Reuben. Not really heard them before. 2 or 3 tracks that popped up on that playlist. I was like, yeah, I can get into this.
Oh, can we do that album? It's the best album ever.
Well, but that's what I mean. It's like you can hear stuff that you're not used to, and then it's probably not. It's not in the same heavy end as
Yeah.
this Bring Me the Horizon
They're
is.
such a word of
But they're
mouth
not.
band.
They're not a pop band.
No.
They're not like they're not, and they're not a Faith No More. They're not they're they're definitely in that
Yeah.
sort of hard rock,
Yeah.
new metal genre, right?
Yeah. They're one of them bands that like 2004 that sort of split up before they ever made it big, and now just like everyone you like show them is like, oh, these are amazing. Who are these? Like no one's heard of them unless you know they're every band's favourite band sort of thing.
Yeah.
So I'd love to spread the word about them.
Yeah.
But this one, for me, like I love my metal music. I love my heavy stuff, but it just lacks a melody for me, and that's just my personal taste. Again, I'm not saying this is shit or anything like that.
Yeah.
I don't like. When it comes to metal, I don't really like sweet picking sort of sound, like harmonised guitars, and like the really like high end or really low end screams.
Yeah.
So I knew I wouldn't love it, but I wanted to give it a go because I was just like, you get stuck in
Because
your
you're a bigger
lane.
fan of Bring Me the Horizon, right? It's like, well,
And you
I
get stuck in
kind
your
of
lane
want to
musically as well,
explore
don't
the
you?
catalogue and find out a little bit more about. Here's a good opportunity to do it.
Yeah.
It could have been great.
Yeah.
It wasn't for me. So the biggest thing I suppose if I was to criticise it, I don't really see the point in doing it. Artistically, not really. Okay, they want to do it. They want to do it. That's fine. I just have that sort of, what's the word? I feel like what they're saying about why they did it is not completely true.
Okay.
I think it's more like we've got a bigger audience now. How do we engage that audience? If we tell that audience that this is us now doing that old stuff, they're more likely to go and listen to and explore
Well,
it,
I think all them
rather
fans-
than go back to that original album.
And I think that's so beneficial for the fans because if you love that, they probably haven't played this album in full since 20 years ago.
Yeah.
So for the and they've got another like deathcore song out of it. So I don't see any problem with what they've done, and I think and if you didn't like the Knicks and now like this one, I think it can only be good for what they've done.
I guess.
And and again, like I said before, I think it's so cool that this niche genre music you can still sell out arenas to.
Yeah.
And I think that's amazing.
Yeah, I don't know. I admit it's just my sort of suspicious head going, why not make a new one? Why go back and do an old one?
Yeah, true. Maybe they will.
But maybe they're legit. I don't know them. Legitimately, they could be going. Yeah, we like the day we walked out of that studio, we weren't happy with that album. We've always wanted to do it.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Anyway, there you go. I've still forgotten the name of the album, Billy.
Count Your Blessings.
Count Your Blessings by Bring Me the Horizon, which is their debut album, which has been reworked and released. I couldn't actually find out. There's not a huge amount of I couldn't find a lot of reviews or critiques or anything about this album, like the new one coming out. I couldn't really find that much. Anything that I was reading was basically a review of the original, not even on the new one. It was just saying that this is very much a review of that original album, and I think the way that the band has developed, and I think that's interesting in itself. Even if you kind of thought the way the band has developed, if you're interested in Bring Me the Horizon now, where they started from, because it is pretty much a replicated version of that original one, but with better audio quality.
I suppose if you're doing a review, all you're doing, you're not complimenting the band, you're complimenting the engineer, really, aren't you?
Well,
if you're doing a review, maybe more bands should do it.
Maybe that's it. But yeah, it's as with any of these things, make your own mind up. That's what we thought. But it's there. You can listen to it. It's online. Go and check it out. That's why we talk about these things. It's always about most of the time we kind of go, we can find something a bit more to like. But even within this, we can find something to like because we can go, Bring Me the Horizon. A lot of respect for what they
I like the newest
do.
song on there. I think if you like your metal but not the extremes of like that one.
Yeah.
I think Dehumanize, the new one, I really enjoyed. And
I knew that was a new one, so I did get to a point where I just skipped to the end and checked that one out, and I do agree.
And then there's like a guitar tone on there. It's like I've never heard a guitar tone like that, and it's still something new in 2026, like sound-wise. I thought that's so cool.
That's cool.
So
isn't it?
I did really like that.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Thank you for, and I forgot to say at the beginning again.
Go on.
Thank you for listening and watching.
Oh yes,
audio
thank you very
podcast.
much.
I really need to say at the beginning. We are now on YouTube and eventually on Spotify is a bit of a weird one because I have to wait till it's released and then add the video afterwards.
Okay.
So it's a bit of a weird one. But yeah, sorry if you've got to the end of this and want to watch it again.
Why?
That would be weird. Next time I'll try and remember to say at the beginning. If you're starting to listen to this now, if you want to watch it on YouTube, you can. I'll remember that next time. Forgot again. Anyway, thank you for listening and watching. If you've been, a lot of people were watching last week.
I know.
many more people watching our podcast.
Get a
So
bit self-conscious
maybe
now.
this is working.
Yeah.
Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. That's been the Apollo Audio Podcast. Find us online on Instagram at Apollo Audio Podcast. If you want to email us, you can do that. It's apolloaudiopod@gmail.com. More importantly, apollo-audio.co.uk is where you can find all the details of the work that we do, all the spaces available for rehearsals, tuition, recording, all the stuff that we do, and the next gig details will be up there
Yes,
soon.
very soon.
We're already starting to plan that one
Yes.
for the next gig. And we will see you next time.
Cheers.
You sure you forgive me?